Well, welcome, man. What a crazy start. So, please let me know if the audio is good. We had an issue with channel one in my ATEM Extreme ISO. I don't know what happened. I went to go live and horrible static, had to find a way. Um, so then started the first show, started the post show. So there's no new still image yet on my channel for the post show, but welcome. Let me know if the audio is great. I am so sorry for how this started. But again, you knew at one point there was going to be an epic fail getting ready to go live. So I'm actually using the pod mic. I'm on the table tonight. I've got the RodeCaster Pro in the box. I have not opened it. So let me just get into the live stream tonight here on my phone. I do have the chat here, but I just want to make sure everything is streaming good and just not everything's just not flowing tonight. I don't get it. What did I do wrong to deserve this? But I see I'm live, and I should have my other camera available tonight. So we'll see. Also, set up to tether my phone so you guys can see the RodeCaster Pro Version 2. So I'm sure I bit off too much to unbox this and then try to set it up after, and got to get things ready in the studio to do that in the post show. But we're still going to attempt the post show. It's going to be a little bit delayed because I'm going to have to repost it. So please come back. Instead of it being about 5:15 tonight, it's going to have to be around 5:30. So we are going to do the post show. We are going to actually attempt to take the RodeCaster Pro Version 2 and hook it up, get my brain programmed to look at that camera. So it's been kind of crazy busy around here. It's summer. The weather finally stopped being rainy and actually turned out nice. I think I can get chat on the screen. So let's just go through here and say hi to everybody. I see Hank here tonight, DJ Ware. Let's see if I can get chat on the screen here. That should have popped up, but it didn't. Let me try this again. Chat on the air. Yeah, there it is. That's got me up there. So let's just go through here. Hi, DJ Ware. Thanks for joining me. Stop and think. Thank you for coming from Bluffton, South Carolina. That's Hank from South Carolina. We've got Freddie here. Hi, Freddie. Me saying sorry. I got Tony here in the house, and he says hi to some of the other guys in here. And Tony, yeah, I'm glad I figured out the technical difficulties. Yeah, it was crazy static. If you go back and listen, I made the live show original still private because it just started out with static when I went to roll my intro video. So I'm not sure what's going on. I'm using channel 2 now in my Extreme ISO. I don't know if I just lost a channel. What happened? I did have a power surge on Monday morning that blew out our internet, but everything in my house worked great. But I didn't do any test streams, and I hadn't flipped over to channel to my ATEM Extreme with my HOSA switch, which is where I get my audio. Normally I test it, and I thought I flipped it over and tested it earlier today, but when I went to go live, there was nothing but static, but now we're using channel 2. So thank you, Blackmagic Design, for 2 channels in the ATEM Mini Extreme and the regular ATEM Minis, the Pro, the Mini, the Pro, Pro ISO, then the Extreme ISO. They have 2 channels of audio, so I am now using channel 2 and just switched over my 3.5 millimeter input and just thought, let's see if that works. Then I had to create a new still. Because if you go live and then you end a live stream, you lose the live stream. It's ended and you can't restart it. So thank you, YouTube, for that little thing there. So let's see. Good to have you, David, in the house from down under. Let's set this baby up. We'll get going here in a minute. Bill, thank you for joining me. Yeah, I'm looking forward to unboxing as well. I haven't took it out of the big box that came from the dev store here in the state of Washington, and there's not like a plastic seal, but I promise I haven't opened it up. I did shoot some B-roll today that I was going to use in the intro, but I was so busy flying around here trying to fix things, I didn't get to play that on top of the still tonight in the intro. But thank you guys so much for joining me. And again, there's hi to David. TVJ, it's good to have you here. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Freddie. Everything is now working. Thank you for letting me know the audio and video is good. And also, Tony is saying the audio is good. So let's scroll down here. Dork Productions from Lubbock, Texas. Thank you for showing up. I don't think you've been here before. So thank you for letting me know the audio is good. And thank you for joining me. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Let's see. Stop and think. Audio is great. While everybody is excited about, and rightfully so, about the RodeCaster Pro II, there are still those of us who are still impressed with the remarkable original RodeCaster Pro. Yeah, and I'm saying goodbye to an old friend. I've been using the RodeCaster Pro Version One as my hub in the studio now for a little over, I think, 2.5 years. Originally, I got it for my wife's podcast, and then started using it and unhooking it when I went live a couple years ago, just starting to learn about doing live. And then it became a hub in here when we decided to move into this room. And it has been my central audio device for a while now. So, okay. So I said hi to Bill, said hi to TVJ, said hi to Tony. Let's see. Dork Productions, I've been here a couple of times. I'm sorry. That's on me, not on you. I apologize. I will program it in my brain, but thank you so much for joining me. And I guess the challenge is when you have a lot of regulars that you get used to seeing every week, and then there's people that have been here a couple times, not to make any excuses because I own that. I really want to be able to say hi and recognize everybody here. But again, thank you so much for joining me. So, well, let's do what we came here tonight to do. Let's unbox this baby. So I'm going to take chat off the air and move my keyboard out of the way here. And I would like to tether my phone and see if we can't bring it up as another camera. So let's do that right now. I'm going to tether it. And again, I'm using my Apple TV plugged into channel 4 in my A10 Mini Pro, and my A10 Mini Pro comes out, program out into channel 3 of my Extreme ISO. And that way, if I'm using the tethered phone, I can actually bring it into SuperSource through channel 3 in my Extreme, and that's what we're going to do. So let's open up Filmic Pro. And I'm going to step away here for just a second. Because we're going to tether it up here. Hold on. And then I need to do one more thing here. I should actually have companion set up and be able to cut to that, but I do not. So let's go into SuperSource here. And I'm not sure what happened to this. So let's go up to this computer right here. Get my mouse to work. Got to be at this table to do this unboxing. So let me get SuperSource ready here. Sorry about that. So should be ready to go. Awesome. Okay, so looks like I need to change what is in box 1 here. So let me do that real quick. I am so thankful for Adam Tao's Mix Effect app. So we'll switch now to Super Source here. There we go. So you can see me, I think. Yeah, I see that little picture, and I'm going to get the box out here. So we're going to clean off my desk here just a little bit. And let me take a sip. Let's get this baby going. Again, I cannot see chat right now. I apologize, but here is the box, and you should have pretty good view at it both ways. Here is my kind of my sky cam, and that is so weird. Oh, sorry. Sky cam. Yeah, I have my other face cam over here. I just got confused. So I've got so many cameras going tonight. So there's a look at it from my phone, and we're going to unbox this. So again, it doesn't have any tape or anything. It has this out part. So I'll just spin it around here, guys, so you can see the box. So here's the front, here's the side, here's the back. And I will be posting a video in the next couple days, some B-roll as a video short, and then I'll have my big video done hopefully here in a few days. So again, that's the back, and it gives you all the information. And I had this on the screen a few weeks ago, this whole layout. It tells you all the different things. And then here's the side of that box, that side of the box, that side. And so now let's slide it out of here. So a box inside a box. Set that on the floor right here. And let's see, how does this, so there is a little plastic here, so you can see I haven't been in it. And so we're gonna need to cut that real quick. I did not think there was going to be there, so let me grab something. Don't want to tear the box, so get my little handy dandy pocket knife out and find that spot again and cut it. Cool. And so it looks like this is the top, so we'll open it up. And there we go inside the box. So hopefully that is in focus, and I'll kind of turn it towards that camera. So that's inside the box. And then it says open this up. And so as you open this up, you have all the paperwork inside here. So I'm going to pull this out and see what's inside. And inside here, you can see, is a cable. And that's it. That's all that's inside that. So we'll set that aside. It says, welcome to the next level audio. That down there. So this is the power cord. So I'm going to unhook that. And I do have power ready here on the desk. So I do have that ready. So then this box kind of opens up and it falls right out. So we're going to pull this out. And I'm going to take it out of the plastic. Throw this down there. So there you go. And it's got a protector. We're going to go ahead and peel that off. And so there you go. And I will be re-unboxing it for my my video. I'm not recording right now. Too many issues tonight. So we'll set that aside just for a second and see what else is in the box. So down in here, you have a little container, and that's pretty much it inside the box. And then you got a nice thing here advertising their new headphones, their pod mic, which I have right here. And then they have the new PSA 1 Plus boom arm, which is pretty nice. I don't have it yet, It's got lots of Rode all over it, but again, it's kind of a newer version of their very well-known, famous boom mic. So we're gonna put this down underneath the desk with everything else. And I don't know about you, but I've watched a number of videos on the RodeCaster Pro. So we'll open this up, and I think this just has these cables in it. So this is a power supply so that you could plug in USB-C. And then this is their high-end cable because a lot of data is designed to pass by this cable. And so they give you a USB-C to USB-C super powerful cable. And I'll have to kind of figure out how I'm going to use this when we get it all hooked up. So, and then this is kind of like a power brick. And again, USB-C into the RodeCaster. So we'll set this down, get rid of the plastic, bring this baby out. And there you go. You can see it right there on that shot, and I'll hold it up for the main camera. So again, this is a lot smaller. It does have a VESA mount bracket in the back and also the ability to screw it into a tripod. And there's a little set screw that comes out for 2 different sizes of tripod, or you could even use a like a light stand on it and hook it up, and they're pretty cheap. You can buy some pretty decent light stands. Again, it's quite a bit smaller than the RodeCaster Pro original version. It's going to take up less space on the desk. And on the back, you have, we'll look at the front in a second, you have now 1/4 inch and XLR, so these neutral connectors, and there's 4 inputs. Then you have your headphone inputs, your right and left for main audio out right here. And then 4 headphones. You have cat cable now, so it's either wireless or you can hook it up to your switch, and I'll be doing that. And then you have the USB 1, USB 2, and USB 1 is a lot more powerful than USB 2. So we'll talk more about that in the future as we dive into the RodeCaster Pro. So that's the back. Again, across the back, 4 inputs, plus you have the ability to bring in 1 channel or 2 USB-C inputs. You can bring in audio like a phone. You can bring in 2 computers. So you can also now Bluetooth to speakers, which you did not have the ability. You could Bluetooth into it from a phone, but you couldn't Bluetooth out to Bluetooth speakers. I probably won't be doing that, but I do have Bose system in here that does have the ability to Bluetooth to it. So I do like the form factor. I like that the screen is tilted up. It seems like it's a tiny bit bigger than the old screen. And then I love the fact that you have the pads and the ability to use these pads. These are smarter pads than the old pads, and I think that will be really nice to use. Plus, I love the fact that you can now change pages to another page, and the most pages I've ever used, I think, is 4, and each page can be a different podcast with audio embedded, sound bites, sound music. I play my music from this button all the time in my old RodeCaster Pro, and I just bring it up when I'm going live or if I'm recording my intro. So again, I love that. And then each channel has the ability to choose it, and you can go directly to the settings on that channel, and we'll power it up here in a second. And then you have obviously the ability to solo and mute all the way across. And you have the ability to solo 2 different channels and talk privately to one of the people. So if you did have a Bluetooth guest or someone coming in through Zoom, they have the ability to do mix minus, and it's really going to be nice to be able to talk directly to someone. So I could roll a video, talk directly to them without you hearing me, and then tell them, hey, when the video's over, we're going to go live. You'll be on with me. And I could do all that privately from channel 1 through soloing that channel and the guest channel. And that's a cool feature. So, okay, so we're going to power this up, but I want to look at the chat. I think I've done everything. The one thing that's missing is the headphone output on the front. I really like that. I haven't quite decided how I feel about that because I had 2 sets of headphones plugged into the front, some earbuds, wired earbuds, as well as my over ear Sennheiser, I think 80s. I can't remember what they are, but I had those plugged in too with a splitter, and they were taking channel 1. So now I'll have to go 1/4 inch out and then split it. And in reality, I was also plugging my snake into channel 1 as well. So I can grab headphones and have channel 1 right here through a snake. So I'm not sure how I'm going to overcome that. But again, anytime there's changes, you have to make adjustments, and I will be figuring out how to do that. So let me get back here to the chat. So let me change cameras back here. Should be back on the main camera. Sorry, the table's in view. I bumped that camera in the middle of going live, and so I'm going to adjust it here in just a second, but let me get back in the chat here and see what you guys are saying. Okay. Back in the chat. And I think, let me go back here. Okay, I think I can put chat back on the air here. So let's just go here, see if there's any questions. Okay, so let's go. I think we're on the air there. It's a ways for me to see the monitor. I mean, I could switch that up and go full screen instead of multi-view, but the monitor is about, I don't know, 5 feet away from me. It's a 27-inch monitor, so the screen I'm looking at is about that big. So, but this is a great question. Are you controlling everything from the iPad, MixFX, and the Wacom One? Yeah. So the Wacom One chat, I could actually look at the control software from my PC on here. It's frozen right now for some reason. That's why I'm having to get up and go switch my A10 Mini Pro over there. So going from chat, which is channel 3, to the ability to show you my overhead camera, my iPhone is channel 4, and I was just switching back and forth to those. I also have my Canon 5D Mark III down here as more of a close-up camera, but it does time out after 30 minutes, and so I'm not planning on using it. I am going to zoom this camera in. So that's Freddie's question. So then I'm using MixFX to be able to control everything. So I can actually switch from MixFX. So what I have open right now is the main page. So I can go to the Hyperdeck. I could go to the different channels. Like right now, I have chat is now in the box that I was showing you my iPhone. So if I was to do a transition right here, you're going to see that. So instead of having camera, my iPhone there, you have the chat twice. So because that's what I'm doing. I have my chat coming into my Wacom tablet from my PC, also going into the A10 Mini Pro, and it's in one channel, which is channel 4. And then I have my camera 3 in channel 1. And then in channel 2, I believe, channel 3 is actually the chat, and it's hot right now. And then that comes in to my main display. So so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to zoom this camera in a little bit more. Well, let me see. Any other questions? Just FYI, slight delay on the iPhone cam. It's fine. Yeah, and I do know that there is a slight delay on the iPhone camera. And I'm planning on eventually adding a wireless system in my studio instead of tethering my iPhone, because the further I get away from my Apple TV, it seems like the more latency is created. And so I appreciate that coming from you, Tony. Good to have you, Doug Force. And thank you for joining me here on tonight's live stream. We had kind of a little bit of an issue. She's in the other room. My wife at the door trying to find Zoe, my little dog. So let's see. Again, hi to Doug Force. Evening to you. Um, and David says, how exciting. Yeah, I think I'm excited. There's a couple things I'm going to have to overcome. One of them being the fact that it does not have that headphone output on the front. But there's so many new cool features. I'm pretty excited about it. So um, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. And next to the power button as well is the USB-C input for the power brick. So that's part of it. Here's the other part of it. We are going to fire this up. We're going to do most of the hookup in the post show, but we are going to turn it on here tonight. And I do have a pair of headphones. So I did come prepared to fire this up. They do say that you need to do a firmware update. So I'm going to do that before we go live in the post show. I have everything loaded on my computer. I do even have a cat cable here. Let me plug this in before I get tangled up here. So we'll plug the headphones into channel 1 and give myself a little volume on the headphones. And then I also have another pod mic. I have 4 of these and 4 of these stands. And I am going to talk about that kit that I have. This is going to go into channel 1. Now, you're not going to hear this, but I did want to put my headphones on and listen to this myself. So it is booting up right now. And it should have music already on it. And or it's got power. Let's hit the power button here. Booting. And I'll hold that up so you guys can see it. In a second, I'm going to go back to my tethered camera with the latency. So it's still booting up. So let's bring all these faders down, and there we go. So it's starting to light up. So it's getting all pretty, and I don't know if you guys can see those lights or not. A cool thing is you can actually change, with the firmware update, you can change the lights on all of these. You can buy color-coded little plastic deals that go on the XLR cables. You could also plug an instrument in this. So if you do play keyboard, you could stereo channel 3 and 4 for a keyboard. You could have a guitar in channel 1, you could have, or a vocal mic, you could have a vocal mic in channel 2, or even another device like an acoustic guitar plug in direct. And then one of the things I'm super excited about is the fact that I got to do all the calibration stuff. So, and that's what will take a few minutes. There is a barcode, so you can just scan it to get directly to the site. And you can also attach this wirelessly to your network. So that's why there's going to be a little break between this live show and the post show, because I am going to download the firmware, but we'll look at it the way it came. Obviously, the firmware came out after they are already shipping these out. So they did put out an email to everybody that purchased one from whatever store you purchased it that you need to update it. And then I will be plugging this cable in to my laptop so I can get audio in my setup, and then I will have to come out of the right and left into my HOSA, and then it distributes the audio to either my ATEM Extreme ISO or to my speakers in my studio, and it's one or the other. So my speakers are not on right now because I'm in live streaming mode. So I'm going to flip this around after I change cameras. So let's make a quick adjustment here. Sorry for the getting up and getting down. You can see it now because I have the key on for chat on the screen, even though it's not chat anymore. So let me go into my macros and we will turn chat off the air and get me back on here. So I brought the camera a little closer. This is the way it was before I bumped it when everything went crazy. So I should be able to get Super Source up here again. I'm just looking for what's happening with Super Source here. So let's just do this. Let me go into switcher. Cool. So let me just auto transition. Now you got the view of this again. So here's a better look at the front of this, and you can see it's ready to scan the barcode. It says get connected, and that means that I've got to connect it to the network. And so you can see how many channels it has. So it doesn't have quite as many faders, but you do have more channels now, more ability to assign different things to different channels, which is really exciting. You can actually program the buttons. You can use this dial to control effects, which is really exciting for me. And then again, you can change the colors, I believe, on all of these dials and all of these buttons as well. I will probably just leave it as default, but I will demo that in my video. And then again, the pads are smart pads. You could use these to do transitions. I could fade audio in, fade audio out. I could play tracks. I can start and stop tracks. I can latch them, all kinds of options right here. So you can see it all lit up and ready to go. And so I was just going to flip it around here. So we'll just adjust it so I can see it like I would normally for the first time. And so it says get connected. So it's asking me if I want to be Wi-Fi, wired, or Rode Central for my PC. So I could just bring in things directly from my PC. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug a cable into it, bring it in my network. Power it down. Waiting for it to power down. Power down. Plug it in. It is powering back up. And we'll let it power back up. It's now plugged into the same switch that I have my Extreme and my HyperDex. And it's a Unify switch underneath my desk. And so we're waiting for it to boot up. And again, I'll just turn this around so you guys can see it a little bit better. Why it boots up. And I can't respond to chat, but I can see the chat. So I will just look at this real quick. So Tony says he definitely likes the form factor, and I can't show that chat on the screen, but it takes a few minutes for it to boot up. So it's like 4 times faster processor than before. Obviously, it's not a super fast processor, but I think it took like 4 seconds for mine to boot up, but I think it's booting up into like the startup mode because I didn't go through all of the settings. I got to set up the network part of it, and it's asking me to boot that up. And this is the exact same cat cable I'm going to use, or the switch. I will put a shorter cable on it tomorrow, but tonight we're going to use this longer cable so I can go all the way from the desk to where I'm sitting right now. Still waiting for it to boot up. I don't know if I did something wrong and it's taken a few minutes, but I'm going to be patient. So if you have any questions or any thoughts or comments, go ahead and throw it in the chat. It does take a few seconds for me to see your comments, but I'm going to continue using this camera, my iPhone tethered, and so let's see what the latency is. So I'm going to move my hand. You can see Tony's talking about the latency. Let's do it down here so you guys can see it. So about a second of latency, and hopefully once I get something in here, it will go a lot faster. But mainly want you to see the RodeCaster Pro tonight. So hopefully it's in startup mode. I pushed the button. It's like when you plug it in, it powers up to like a Rode screen, but I don't think it started booting up. I think I had to push the button. So it's a little confusing. I'm learning. So what I'm saying is that it lights up the screen, letting you know I have power, and comes out of a sleep mode, but then you actually have to boot it up. And so I pushed the button and it's booted up in about 3 or 4 seconds. So I'm going to hit the over arrow now. It says get connected. I'm going to hit wired, and it says that it doesn't see. Oh, it found it. I can update it now, which is really cool. So that's what I heard. If you plug it into the network, it will automatically update. So you can see right now I am updating the firmware. So as soon as it found my network, it updated. That's really cool. So what I heard is that if it's tethered, it's going to automatically do the updates. And that alone is going to save me time. I mean, every time there was an update of the RodeCaster Pro, I had to go through a whole process, especially before they did all the firmware updates. So I used to have to put it on a disk, load it in the back of my RodeCaster Pro Version One. Now you can update it from the app on your PC through the USB-C port, which you could do now. But now that it can either be networked or wirelessly networked, so cable networked into a switch, you can do the update. So it's literally rebooting right now with the new firmware, and then I'll have all the updates and it'll be ready to roll. And then all we have to do in the post show is plug it into my PC, get it all working, and see if I can't actually have audio. So, and there's going to be a few minutes where we may not have audio when I disconnect my RodeCaster Pro in the post show, because I'm going to do it live one way or the other. So, okay. So I think it's rebooting. Yep, it is rebooting now. So I guess it did it a couple times. So it's doing this part. And so we're going to wait for it to reboot. And if you do have any questions, let me go down here. Yeah, so last comment I have is Tony said, definitely like the form factor. So hopefully we're still live. It looks like we're live over on my channel. It is all booted up. I'm going to hit over. Now I have the ability to choose language. So let me turn this around so that you guys can see this. And hopefully you can see it, but I'm going to hit English because that's what and it's all kinds of languages. Then I can put the date, and it's 2022, so it says 2021. So I'm going to turn this around, and let's see, how in the world do I change the date? Show date and time on home screen. It's not month 4. It's not 2021. So I would think you would tap, but that doesn't work. Hours. So I can tap on these. Can I scroll up with my finger? No. Okay. Well, I'm not sure how to change that. I'm not seeing a how, so I'm going to hit over. Already wired it up. It says Firmware updates often contain improvements to ensure the best possible experience. I'm going to skip. Usage, it says analytics, usage statistics, resource statistics, share. Nope, I'm not going to do that. And then it has a default, create a default show using default settings, setup wizard, create a default, there's a glare on the screen, a default show using the setup wizard, load existing show from external storage. So I'm just going to go create a default show using defaults for now and hit next. It's just called default show. Okay, and then now you have this cool little screen. Bring this up. It's got all these icons. So you've got different icons that you could select. And I don't really want to be a cat. So I guess I'll just choose the pod mic for right now as an icon. And I'm going to hit next. Lots of little icons here. And that's the default icon for the show I just set up. So the default show is going to have the pod mic as the icon, and it's right up here on the top. It's already given me a countdown. Time isn't correct. It says it's April 30th, 2021. I'm going to have to fix the date, and I'm going to have to read the manual to do that. And then I have channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 4. Then I have Bluetooth. Then I have the sound settings, and then I have 3 more channels, a USB, a Bluetooth, and another USB. So USB 1, USB 2. And so that's the startup screen. Then I can go into settings. Here is the different sounds on my device. So now let's go ahead and turn it around here. And just so I can listen, grab the mic that's plugged in. I will go to channel 1. I'm going to raise it up. It already has the pod mic. It looks like I have good audio. Testing 1, 2, and I have audio in my headphones. So again, really cool. So already working, already giving me audio from this mic. I just have to now plug it in. So in reality, when I do go back to my desk for the post show, I'm going to use my Shure SM7B and the pod mic until I get the Shure SM7B plugged in. I do have to remove the cloud lifter. This has such good preamps that you're not supposed to need any kind of device that lifts it. And the way a cloud lifter works is that you actually plug it in line. So you plug the XLR jack into the RodeCaster Pro, like I have in my version 1. Then you plug into the cloud lifter, you turn on phantom power, plug in the other side of the cloud lifter to my SM7B, which is a really low gain microphone, so it needs boosted. But right now there's plenty of gain in this RodeCaster Pro Version 2 with these new preamps. And supposedly, if you add a cloud lifter, which they're saying you do not need, we're going to find out tonight, you will introduce more noise. They're saying that this is almost as low as you can possibly make a preamp with the noise floor. And if you don't know what the noise floor is, that's basically where the noise is. So if you were to put a set of headphones on, put your audio at your microphone at normal gain, and then just stop talking, there's electrical noise or preamp noise, very, very, very soft, but the more compression you use to produce your show, the more that noise floor is going to be lifted with compression, because what compression does is take the quiet parts and bring it up, and it also will take the high parts and bring it down. And then limiting is a compressor on steroids, which just keeps everything squished so it doesn't go over. But in reality, it also will bring the noise floor up. So it's very important if you're producing high-end audio or you don't want any kind of noise in your audio to make sure that you have good preamps. And so the RodeCaster Pro original version had pretty decent preamps, but they're saying now these preamps are even more amazing. I printed this out again because I think they say in here, yeah, ultra low noise, high gain revolution preamps are minus 131.5 dB. So if you know anything about that, and it has 76 decibels of gain. So pretty high quality preamps to be down at minus 131.5. And I think that's like 2 or 3 dB away from the very bottom of the noise floor. And then again, 76 dB of gain. I think before it had like 52 to 56. So almost 20 dB more. That should be plenty to be able to use it without a cloud lifter. So I have a cloud lifter in my studio now that I don't need anymore. So, okay, so I'm going to hop up well, let's do this first. I'm going to go into the settings here. So let me turn this around so you guys can see it a little better. So I'm going to go into the settings right here. And then inside the settings, I have the different inputs. And then I have the different sources. So I got Bluetooth, USB 1, USB 1 chat, which is a chat feature, and USB 2. And then I have sounds, which is my sound pads. And then here is the next page, which gives me the ability to reorder everything. So I literally can drag and drop things in different places. I'm not going to do that right now. And then if I hit that, it takes me back to the home screen. If I push channel 1, which is my live mic, again, it brings up this channel. And right here, you see that I have phantom power off. And I can also change, oh man, I can't think of what it's called. Yeah, for some reason my brain is not bringing up. That's old age. I'm going to be 61 this weekend. And so you're seeing that. You can actually, so basically if I had these two microphones facing each other, right, I can change the polarity so that they don't cancel each other. So that's what that is. This is a polarity switch. So I could switch like channel 1, have it off, channel 2, have it on, and that'll keep you from having them cancel each other out. Then I have the ability to do these presets, or I can go into the effects, and you have actually echo and reverb now. We didn't have that on the RodeCaster Pro. And if I go into the settings, I can go into advanced mode, and in advanced mode, which is what I'm going to use, I will actually be able to control all of the parameters. The big bottom, I'll be able to control the compressor on every channel, the de-esser, which takes away the sibilance, the S's. I'll be able to change the EQ, which we have now inside the RodeCaster Pro. I'll be able to change all those settings rather than using these. And if you're starting out fresh, then you would probably just use these default settings. So once you choose the pod mic, it adjusts it specifically, the EQ for the pod mic. And then also you can use these presets, but I will be changing that when we go to the break. So if I click on settings, again, I'm back to the screen. I can go from different microphones to different microphones, but I could also take channel 1 and 2 and stereo it, 3 and 4, stereo it. I can actually stereo 2 and 3, which is unusual. Usually it's 1 and 2, 3 and 4, all the way down your channels, but this has the ability to use channel 1 as your main microphone so that you could be the host. Then you could take channel 2 and 3, use it for your keyboard. So I love that feature. That's another thing that they thought outside of the box. And again, on this one, you now have unity gain markers, so you know right where to put the pad, and you can actually go in and change the settings inside here. Let's go back to the home screen. I think I can just, no, let's see, let's exit out of this home screen. So I can change the way the faders read out and have more of a traditional fader setup. So then you have, again, the headphone knobs right here, and then the main control knob, which could be volume for your speakers in your studio, but it also could be used to control the parameters inside each one of the features. So when I'm controlling the compressor, I actually have a knob now, which is a big bonus with RodeCaster Pro. Okay, so I'm going to hop up. Let's change this back to the other camera view here. So let's go macros here. Find my macros, and let's go back to camera 1, and let me get up and fix this again. And now I should be able to bring the chat on air here. So let's see what we got going here. So I will go ahead and pop this up. So I think that's on the air. That was Tony saying definitely a great form factor. Okay, so thank you for letting me know how I adjust the date. So I used the big knob to adjust the date. I should have known that, right? This knob is designed to be able to change the parameters, and David's already helping me know how to run my new RodeCaster Pro Version 2. So thank you, David, having my back. So how is this going to work with my ATEM? That's a great question, TVJ. So basically, my RodeCaster Pro has a right and left out, right? So you'd normally run those into speakers in your studio, right? So now I could use this to Bluetooth speakers. So if I wanted to hear the audio from my RodeCaster Pro Version 2, I could actually play it in my Bose, which are right here underneath my TV. And I have surround sound speakers, so I could play stereo music from the RodeCaster Pro, Bluetooth it to the speakers. But what I'm going to do is come out the two right and left XLR outs. And again, let's turn it around so you guys can see that. I'm tethered to power and everything, so it's a little more difficult. But right here is the right and left out channel. And so that's going to go into my HOSA switch. And what my HOSA switch is basically one channel in from a device, which is the RodeCaster Pro right now in my studio. This is going to be the new device, and the RodeCaster Pro is going to go in the case and be a portable podcasting kit for things that I'm going to be doing outside of the studio, which was always my plan. I was kind of waiting out getting a second one because I felt like they would come out with something new, and I'm glad I waited about 6 or 7 months and just didn't do any gigs, mainly because of what was going on in our world. But now that things are happening, I think there's going to be an opportunity for me to do remote podcasting with some of the clients that I have. So I'm excited about that. So I'll come out XLR right and left from my RodeCaster Pro. It will then go into my HOSA switch. And then my HOSA switch has 3 outputs out of it. So right and left in, and then it's got right and left out 1, out 2, out 3. And then one of those will go to my ATEM Extreme input, channel 2 tonight, because channel 1 is having some crazy things going on. I don't know, maybe I lost channel 1, we'll see. The other channel goes to my speakers in my studio, and then I have a third output as well that I could send someplace else. I used to have it going into my ATEM Mini Pro, but now I'm not feeding. I'm mainly using my ATEM Mini Pro as a switcher, and then out of it into my Extreme, so I don't use it. But I thought maybe if my Extreme died, I could switch over real quickly to my ATEM Mini Pro. And if I had been ready tonight, I would have tried that. And I could have done the stream tonight from my ATEM Mini Pro, but I'd have been limited to my Canon 5D Mark III, which is the only camera set up. But I did have it live, just it would have timed out in 29 minutes, and that would have been a bummer. So I hope that answers his question. So it will be then feeding my room speakers when I have it on channel 1. And when I put it on channel 3, it will feed my Extreme ISO when I go live. So my speakers aren't on right now because they automatically go off when I switch to channel 3 in my HOSA switch. And it's just a little switch. It sits on my desk. You can Google it. I'll put a link here tonight in the description, and you can order it, and it will then give you the ability to switch. Most studios use it because they'll have a number of speakers to listen to the track. So they'll have studio speakers that are flat with no EQ, mainly to make sure what your mix sounds like. And then when you're getting it ready for release, you're going to want to hear it in different type speakers. I would actually burn a CD and go out and play it in my car speakers as well. But I had 2 sets of speakers in my studio. Some studios have 3. They'll even have, like, notoriously, they had this one set of Yamaha speakers that were really notorious for being like most people's sounds at home for these small stereos. So obviously, if you were an audiophile, you would have really nice systems. But for the average person out there that just bought something from Sears or Penny's and we're spinning records on it, they would mix to these Yamaha speakers and make sure it sounded good on those, because that's what it's going to sound like in someone's house playing on their home stereo. And then obviously mixing it and listening to it on high-end speakers with an EQ curve to hear what it's going to sound like with a lot of audiophile type speakers, as well as speakers that have a little bit of EQ in them. And even microphones have some EQ in them as well. So if you look at the EQ curve on different microphones, you're going to see that most microphones have some boosts in different frequencies and some cuts in different frequencies. And sometimes they drop off real quickly in the low frequencies, and sometimes they have a little boost in the high frequencies. So for whatever it's worth, you are going to be able to switch speakers with a host of switch. And that's the long answer, and I apologize for that. So Doug is asking me, what is the biggest advantage? I think, Doug, there's a number of things. The biggest thing for me is I've always had a PC in my studio and always had a laptop. My laptop, I'll unplug and go mobile, but my laptop is kind of my main piece for editing, for mixing videos, for doing my videos, and my PC is just a backup. But I use my PC in my live streams, and the only way I can get audio right now from my PC is the Bluetooth in to the RodeCaster Pro. So if I want to play something on my PC, or play something on this screen right here using my PC, then I had the Bluetooth in. Now I'll actually be able to plug USB-C 2 channel into my PC. So I could bring in a Zoom person from my PC and a Zoom caller from my laptop at the same time. I will have mix minus on USB-C interface 1. So most people have an audio interface in their studio, but most people don't have an audio interface that has the ability to plug into a PC and a laptop, a Mac M1 and a Mac laptop. I mean, you have the ability to do that. You can also plug it into your phone and use your phone as an interface with this device. So if you're remote, you can plug it into your phone and be able to use the app that's free from RodeCaster Pro. So that's the number one advantage. The other advantage is the better preamps for me. Having a cloud lifter, adding any noise to my channel strip is not something I want, especially when I'm mixing a video for a client and I want to use some sound effects through the RodeCaster Pro. Just realize that all my audio, even my vocal voiceovers, if I do like a radio spot or do voiceover on a video, all of that's going through my RodeCaster Pro. So I've always kind of compromised having the version 1 because I'm used to having very, very high-end preamps in my studio, and now I have that inside here. So that's reason 1. Reason 2, then there's a whole bunch of other things. You've added EQ now. You have more control. You have MIDI control. I do want to be able to automate my volume up in the middle of my show from one of the pads. So being able to actually do the automation, and then just more intuitive control and being able to set a show up and have whatever I want on channel 1, 2, 3, and 4. So right now I have this mic plugged into channel 1, but I could actually move this inside the software and make it channel 2, channel 3, or channel 4. So as well as having the XR, as well as 1/4 inch input, the Neutrix, then now you can plug an instrument in it. I don't play a guitar or do any of that anymore, but if I ever needed to have someone in the studio and I needed to plug in a guitar or plug in a keyboard or maybe just bring in a synthesizer inside my studio, I would have the ability now to plug it in stereo into 2 of the channels and be able to do stereo. I can pan channels. I mean, there's so many things in reality, Doug, that come to mind as I've done research on this. And I'll talk more about it as we go. If you guys are interested in questions on the RodeCaster Pro, let me know. And the version 2, let me know, because I'm very familiar now with a RodeCaster Pro, and I'll be familiar with the RodeCaster Pro version 2 as time goes on. Good to have you, Conjoling Technologies. Joe, you missed quite a bit. We unboxed this beast. We fired it up. I plugged the network cable in. It did an automatic update. So it actually did a firmware update. I had to hit yes. And then it rebooted, and after I figured out that I actually have to push the button to turn it back on, and now we're using it. I don't have it in the live stream. I'm using my RodeCaster Pro version 1 in the live stream, but this microphone right now is live. I have headphones that I can listen to in channel 1, and David told me that I can use the knob to change the date, and I couldn't get the date to change to 2022 June the 21st because I couldn't figure out how to change it, and David let me know that I just used this MIDI knob. And so again, I think that's another advantage to be able to do that, especially if you're adjusting compression and all that stuff. It's going to be nice instead of doing the little finger thing on the touch screen, you actually have a knob to dial it in, cut or boost, whatever you're going to do with EQ and all of the other features. So, hey, good to have you, Tom. Tom Buck is here. Again, major fan. Go check out his channel. If you haven't subscribed, you're missing out. Tom is got a amazing studio, lots of microphones. He is passionate about the RodeCaster Pro, RodeCaster Pro Version 2, and he's had one. So, Tom, I finally got my hands on it. Actually unboxed it tonight, and I'm learning. So it's great to have you on. It is running. It's not live, but it's on right now, and I can even switch it around and show you. But here it is, Tom. It is live and running. You can see that audio going up from this microphone right there. So again, I'll be really excited to play with this week and do some videos. If you want to learn about it right now, you can go over to Tom's channel and check it out. He's already got some great videos there. And again, he's had his hands on it for a while, and that's amazing. So I ended up grabbing a new Rode. This is from David. Rode, Keith, but I could not get it to work with the HOSA switch. Huh. So that's interesting. I don't know why that wouldn't have worked, David, because the HOSA switch literally is a line switch, and it's all, you know, analog, right? So you just switch the lever. So maybe it was a bad HOSA switch. Mine I've had now for probably 10 years. It came from my recording studio. I think some of my microphones and my JBL speakers and a few things are left from my studio days. A lot of what's in my studio now is new because it's all live streaming or video production driven. And I'm not just mastering music or recording bands and things like that like I was in my studio. So, but as always, it's great to guys have you on here and asking questions, and maybe we can figure that out, David, together. We've been talking about having a Zoom meeting at some point when you're not super busy, so let me know. Yeah, and it might be something to do with the 2ME. I mean, I know the 2ME only feeds out, I think you feed out through the channels, the program out, but I think Aaron Precky said there's a couple audio channels out of the ME2 as well as the ME4. If you don't know what those are, Blackmagic Design just came out with new rack-mounted devices, super powerful. Not sure about the first one, but the 2ME and the 4ME are pretty amazing devices. Lots and lots of channels, but they are SDI, and there is some limited audio features, but there's so many other bonuses. Like this not having the front headphone jack. Tom, I actually used it in my RodeCaster Pro all the time. I have it split, and then it goes to my earbuds, which are in-ear monitors, so I can use it in a Zoom call, and I just use my SM7B, and then I also have over-the-ear monitors, so I'm kind of wondering what I'm going to do not having that front headphone jack, and then I always had the back headphone jack plugged into a snake that I have, so it's 6 channels that go to this part of my room, so when I'm sitting at the table, I can just plug my XLRs into the snake. I can plug my headphones into the snake, and it uses the back channel 1 input. So if I am running a podcast, right, and I want to be the producer, I have the ability to be in channel 1, both on the front of the RodeCaster Pro and the back. So I guess I'll be coming out 1/4 inch to a 3-way splitter. We'll see. But I will figure that out. So I'm sure it's getting late. I don't have the time, do I? I think, yeah, it's getting pretty late. So we are going to go in the post-show and hook this baby up. And so that's going to take me about 10 or 15 minutes to get over there. I did have a failed launch tonight, so I lost my 2 shows. I had the live show, and then I had a post-show all set up on my YouTube channel. And I had huge static in channel 1 of my A10 Mini Extreme ISO at the last minute. I had to switch everything in my studio to channel 2. which just meant pulling the 3.5 millimeter from one into two, put my headphones on, and then there wasn't crazy static. I don't know what's going on with my new Extreme ISO, which is a little over a year old now. Hopefully I didn't lose channel one because channel two is working great. That's what you're listening to tonight. So I did have a power spike, so who knows? Maybe power came through my RodeCaster Pro and took out channel one yesterday morning when we had a power spike. And I have everything going through power protection, so I don't know how that would happen, but it did, and we'll have to figure out what that is. So because of that, I'm gonna have to set up the post show. The post show is gonna be me setting up the RodeCaster Pro. I'm gonna be pulling out my RodeCaster Pro I have now and putting version 2 in place live. I'm crazy doing this live, but I do have this ready. I do have to plug it in USB-C. Right now I'm going USB-C to USB-A. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that. I may have to go into my my splitter. We'll see. Hopefully we won't have issues to that. And I may try to just use my current cord that I have been using on my RodeCaster Pro. So hopefully, Tom, that will work. The last thing I wanted to say is that you can record. It does have the ability to record, and it does have a little micro SD drive right above the cat cable, and then you have the record button right here on the front. I do not have my overhead camera right now, but I'm going to switch to it real quick so I can show you that. Turn that chat off the air, and then we'll switch to that here on my Mix Effect app. Make sure Super Source looks ready to go, and auto transition in Mix Effect. So now you have the ability to see this a little bit better. And so here's the record button, and right back here, see if I can stand this up. Whoa. Not break it before we get started, but right here above the cat cable is a micro SD, and then also USB 1 and USB-C are right there as well. And so it's all fired up, and you got audio signals going, and it's a little warm, not super warm, but I love the form factor. I think I showed you guys the back of this, the ability to mount it, and they actually sell a mount. So you can do a Visa mount like you would a monitor, or you can do a screw-in mount, and there's a adapter in there to change sizes. You pull that out to go to the smaller thread, or you can keep it to the larger thread. So again, pretty cool device. I'm very excited about moving over to the post show and giving it a go right here in the studio. So with that, I'm just looking at the chat to see if you guys have any other questions. I hope you'll stay and see me hook it up and hear the audio out of it. So I don't see any other new questions or comments. So I am going to cut back to camera one, and we will say good night, and we will see you in the post show. So what's going to happen is I'm going to go in and create a new event. So once you see that on my channel, you can join it. I will try to start as quickly as I can once I get that created. I'm just going to copy and paste the info from the first one and make it private. I think it's still out there tonight. So, and then as soon as you see that live, join me. We'll hook it up. We're not going to take a long time to do that tonight. The main thing is it's going to leave my desk here and go over to my main control area, and we're going to pull out the cords going to the RodeCaster Pro to my HOSA. We're going to change those two cables to go into here, and then we'll plug in my SM7B after we remove the cloud lifter, and then we should be ready to go. All I have to do is those two things and plug it into my laptop to make sure I have audio. But again, I don't even have to have it plugged into my laptop to take it into a live stream, because it'll be feeding channel 2 in my Extreme ISO, and that's where the audio goes. So in reality, I could turn my laptop off and stream directly from my Extreme ISO or my A10 Mini Pro and still feed audio directly through my HOSA, or I could then buy a 1/4 inch right and left adapter to 3.5 stereo if I was going to do remote stuff with an A10 Mini or an A10 Mini Extreme, or any of the other models that way as well. And you can do that with the ME1, ME2, ME4, and some of the old devices. All you have to do is be able to feed audio from the RodeCaster Pro into those devices and then go live from there. So, okay, I'm going to roll the outro. After it's over, I'm going to be creating that new stream, and we'll get going live as soon as I possibly can. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed seeing me unbox this baby. It's exciting to have it in the studio. I'm glad I got to share that with you, and it's going to be fun to see if I can get it set up and working in the live stream tonight, because I'm going to lose audio when I pull that SM7B out and switch to the pod mic and then plug it in. So let's hope everything works great, and I will see you over in the post show. So that's Keith, Life Journey Production Studios, and Tuesday Night Live is ending. I'll see you over there.